find someone in your life that you think is delusional and send them this podcast.
Yeah, send this to somebody who's delusional.
And they're going to watch it, and I promise you they're going to say, damn, maybe I should rethink this. So do someone a favor in your life.
Yes.
And put them on the right road.
Yeah, if you think somebody off track, send them this.
Welcome to another episode of Nothing's Ever That Serious. We got a sign.
You see it.
And we're back for another episode.
Yet another.
How you guys doing? How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Guru. Like the headgear.
Appreciate you.
Might I add?
Thank you.
Very Sojourner Truth of you. Is that her name? That's you about to go to bed? They used to put that in their head before they went to bed.
I'm familiar with this with the silk. That's silk, huh?
It is.
I'm familiar. You know.
Nice. Looks nice. All right, man. Well, good to see you guys again.
Good to see you.
3 smart, 3 esteemed gentlemen.
I say so.
It's a privilege to come here and sit next to you guys. I'm constantly learning.
Likewise.
Really?
Yeah.
You learn stuff from me?
Absolutely.
I feel like I need to, and I think I told you this week, I used to read. I need to incorporate that back into my
regimen.
Do you think that cell phones and the internet kind of killed reading? Because I used to enjoy reading and I do want to get back to it. But now I'd prefer to like put on a podcast. That's why they made audiobooks.
I've
tried audiobooks, but it's different.
I think it depends on the type of podcast you're listening to. Like, at the end of the day, is a podcast not just a book? Because, I mean, books are people's, like, life experiences and knowledge put there. So, like, if you're listening to the right podcast, I ain't going to say every podcast, but if you're listening to licensed people and all this other stuff and different, experts on podcasts.
But is it the same work? Physically, are you doing the same mental exercise by just allowing somebody to tell you something versus, like, reading and processing, interpreting it yourself?
If that's the way you receive information, I would say it should transfer. But when I read books,
I don't remember a lot of the information.
Okay. Do you remember the infos in pods?
But I've always had an issue with retention.
Okay.
I couldn't remember school stuff, but like a movie, I used to watch a movie like once or twice, and I could recite the whole movie back. In
the same vein, I'm just interested in this. When it came to studying, were you like do a run through the night before?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I would pack it in.
Okay.
And then I'm just downloading. I'm not.
I could do the same.
I'm not like processing.
I could teach the class in one night. After I finish the test, it's gone.
I kind of regret that actually.
I don't. We got through school.
Because there's a lot of like dates and information and facts that I kind of wish I knew. I kind of wish that I knew.
I had the capacity to BS and still do well. So I can't speak for anybody else who couldn't grasp.
So you're saying you're above average?
In that aspect, I would say so. I ain't have to like study 24 hours and stuff like that. I ain't do that till I got to college.
What was your experience like?
Pretty much the same.
Oh,
I've just kind of lucked out.
2 geniuses.
I could just move through school, and I was really good at BSing. And that same thing happened when it came to college. And the same thing's happening now in my job.
My job.
I've just BS my way through life. I'm gonna be real.
Damn, my job.
Our relationships, everything. It's just it's
all
life
BS.
For me.
My whole life.
You just BSing your way through life.
I think that I was doing that.
You're BSing your way through life too?
There was it was a section of my life where I was BSing through life. And then I had a wake up call and it was just like, okay, apply yourself. So then I started doing that. But yeah, I got away for a long time. Just like bare minimum was still like B's and A's and B's.
It's funny that you said wake up call because I was remembering an experience that I had in college where I was kind of just like BSing my way through life. And it was because I thought I was going to the NBA. But it wasn't like...
See, I won't go laugh.
But it wasn't a joke. Like I had my life like planned out for me. Like nobody couldn't tell me nothing. Like my teachers.
Okay. It didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
Okay.
Like none of my current situation mattered because I was eventually like gonna be in the NBA. I was gonna be a millionaire. So,
Captain with the Finnish Eagles.
but I can't explain to you the level of like belief that I had. And this probably started. I mean, as a kid, everybody. I mean, did you have hoop dreams?
Absolutely.
You thought you was gonna play
Absolutely.
pro? Did you have?
I've had a lot of dreams.
Okay. So it started as a kid, but it got serious when I got to, I would say, like high school. Basketball became life. Like basketball is life. I started, sleeping with my basketball. I was dribbling it everywhere. Teachers was like, "You can't bring that ball in here."
And your reply was, "I'm going to the league." You can't tell me. Okay.
I would write their names down because
on the ball. He was like, "Hold on, Miss Jones."
Right.
Hater.
Yeah. Because you heard those stories about like people getting revenge on their teachers who told them they weren't.
You said, "Miss Jones, guess who not getting the meal?"
And like girls, like I would be like, "You trying to go to the spring dance with me?" And they would laugh in my face. What would I do?
Stacy. All right.
I write their name.
All right, Stace.
Write their name on the ball.
Write their names on the ball. But yeah, so I carried this. I guess you could say it was a delusion.
Absolutely.
All the way through college. But I actually, I was playing basketball in college.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Because I'm all for being delusional. I am too at times.
Right.
But with my delusion, there are indications that I'm going in the right direction.
Right.
Besides the fact that you was on crack.
Right.
What indications did you have that you was like, outside of you just believing you was going?
Right.
Like, was you getting was it like offers you was getting? Was it like?
Yeah, there were certain things that I realized that I had to reach to, and one of them was Division I. So my brother started getting offers to go Division I. Like he got a bunch of offers, and then he went Division I, and then that was my senior year. So he's there.
Okay.
He's already there, and I'm still in my senior year of high school. So I'm able to communicate directly and see firsthand like what it takes, like what the I'm playing with these guys now. Like during the summer, I'm playing pickup. So I'm able to like assess and gauge, my skill level versus like what it needs to be able to play at that level. And, I'm delusional. So I'm like, if my brother can do it, like I'm better than him. I'm the one feeding him the ball. I'm hitting all these threes when he's getting triple team. I could do it too. Yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, because it's helping me see
the delusion.
Yeah.
Where the delusion was coming from. Yeah. So it didn't happen until my sophomore year of college.
The wake up call. Okay. The wake up call happened in your sophomore year of college. Okay. How did this play out?
So my advisor, I met with him. He said, it's getting to that time where you got to start thinking about, what you want to major in, what classes you want to take. And he was like, so what interests you? And I told him straight up, I was like, well, it doesn't really matter what I do because I'm going to the NBA. And I never seen a look like that before. Like the look on his face.
He said, "Drew, we don't have a basketball team."
And I was like, what have I been doing? What have I been doing all this time? And so that was, I don't know if your awakening was similar to that, but
sports wise, I was I remember 10th grade, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to the league. I was playing on the best AAU teams, getting the exposure. We was going to different camps. We getting interest letters and stuff like that, just rolling in. I'm like, oh yeah, this what's up. And then in my senior year, I had a season-ending injury. It's about like 7 games into the season.
Okay.
So all the like interest, anything, went away in the blink of an eye. And though I knew I was going to recover, I was like, man, I got to start getting realistic about this. And then I'm thinking about the percentages of people who do make it to the league and how that go.
So it took that injury.
It took the injury. I think I was, if I hadn't gotten hurt, I would have evaluated it, as I'm picking the school and stuff like that. Like, does it still make sense?
You started like weighing in your education.
Yep. I said the best thing I want right now is to be able to get a scholarship to for basketball to pay for my education.
Right.
And that's the only thing I wanted. But to end up your story, after he said this to you.
Right. Okay.
Are you drained or are you like, he just don't get it?
He poured out his basketball and wrote down another name.
No, that was the first time.
Dean Henderson.
That was the first time it, similar to like when you got that injury, that was the first time it hit me that I possibly, because he broke it down. He started thinking, he was like,
he said, you can't shoot.
No.
You ain't no good. You got cooked last game.
Right.
Who gonna take you?
Right. And he basically broke it down to like the statistical probability of like that happening. He was like, even if you were,
that didn't take long. He was just like,
he was like, even if you were in the top 1 percentile of college players in the country, which you're not, still like the statistical probability of them making it. So that was the first time I started questioning. I was like, what if I don't? Because I was like delusional up until that point.
When my coach wanted to bring people back down to reality that thought they were going to achieve more, he was like, everybody was like, oh, I'm gonna go overseas. He said the only way some of y'all going overseas is if you get in the military.
Right.
I used to hear him say that, and I used to think it was hilarious because I was like, I've been gave up on like that stuff.
Right.
But
but that's kind of what I want to talk to you guys about, is just kind of like that experience that I had, and I was but I thought I really thought I was going to the league.
I'm looking in your eyes. I can tell you really did think that.
Yeah.
I feel bad.
And that guy, I would say that guy like saved my life.
Or ruined it. That you could have worked even harder and could have been in the league right now.
Right. But do you think that guy had a right to tell me that?
Yeah.
Not just me specifically, because you're always going to envy me as a basketball player.
Yeah.
In comparison to yourself, so you're always going to
but not
subconsciously say negative things. But I'm saying anyone, like your coach, when he says the only way some of y'all are going overseas is, to go in the military, does he have a right to say that?
Well, that was more of like him trying to insult the team when we was doing bad.
Right. Okay.
Specific to you, when I say that I don't think he was wrong, it would have been wrong for him to say, you're not going to the league and just leave it.
Okay.
But for him to be like, I'm basing this off of the 1%, because we know it's like national players of the year that can't even get on the NBA team.
Right.
So in those types of terms, for him to be like, this is why I say this.
I think if you were about it or really in that place, you would have kept going and progressed.
There was no way he was going to the league, but you kept going though.
You think he said it, but I knew it? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, I think and don't get me wrong, I do think there are a lot of times people speak doubt into people that don't need it.
Amen.
I do think there's people who come from hate. I think there's people who come from harm. I think there's people who come from jealousy or not understanding and all this stuff, but I don't think that's where he came from. Knowing that that's not where he came from, if you were really in a place to pursue that, the conversation would have progressed, whether it was with him or internally, and you would have kept going.
He was also my professor. That was the first time I took a class from him, and I'm learning philosophy, and I was like, wow, this guy's so smart. Like I respected his knowledge base or his ability to frame life and frame the world. You're talking about a kid who kind of grew up impoverished and then kind of like, was working his way through life, having these different experiences and not really understanding how to like frame the world. And then you meet this person who, is wiser and older than you, and you kind of respect them as a mentor. And then you sit down and you're like, I'm going to the NBA, and they're kind of like, no, you're not. And I was just like, whoa, like.
One more question.
Wow.
When you received this and you said that you digested what he said, where did the focus turn to?
It took a while. Like you said, it probably wasn't instant. Like I probably did pout the rest of the day but like, I think like what Guru said, I think deep down, I knew, I knew. I was like, all right, well, let me maybe
start putting up a bunch of bricks in the ring.
No, I was just kind of like,
he said, if I make 10 in a row, I'm going.
Why is he in the ring
It was raining.
With a medicine ball, like, dude.
No, it was just kind of like the question you asked earlier where you were like, what signs were pointing to, achieving this thing. And so maybe I might have, in my delusion, I might have been ignoring some signs that weren't, that were pointing against, like everything was pointing against it. We don't have mentors who are pushing us outside of just like, we see hoop dreams or being a rapper as like means of escaping like certain realities. But there's no one who's like teaching us that, there's other ways that you can, have a decent life or have a successful life or pursue other things that would bring that fulfillment to you outside of, trying to be a rapper or trying to be a big baller, I guess. So do we need more dream killers?
Absolutely
I think
not.
we just need more exposure. We view basketball as an escape because that's what we did. It's like all we did was we went out and just went and balled. And we would look at other people who knows, I don't know, you got people doing theater, you got people doing, we joke them, we play them, but it's like if we just had a community and all that exposure to different things and hobbies and all these other things were there, like truly basketball was accessible.
Right.
We don't have a lot of the hobbies and other things that other people have, or just think ways to explore interests. So it's like, I think by pumping more of that into communities, it gives people more realistic expectations of this is what I want to do, or I enjoy this, or I can put more effort into this, because a lot of these people who are chasing out their hoop dreams would be very talented in other places, or and once they were in it, they would see, oh, this is really where I want to put this energy, or this is where I would really shine.
I could see Jay going to the Olympics for bobsledding if he had.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But you just didn't have access to a bobsled.
I probably could have cooked. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I agree with that.
You got the length. You got the.
I'm aerodynamic.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I think it comes down to that, because there's a lot of things that I look at and I'm like, yo, if I would have been exposed to this when I was younger, I would have put so much energy into it. Yeah, so I think the mindset of what we took, or what you two took into pursuing basketball isn't a negative. I just think you guys didn't have, like, that was the only option. You guys didn't have other places to put it. And same thing with like rappers and musicians and all this other stuff. I think it's the same way. But
But like one of my favorite shows is The Big Bang Theory. I don't know, have you ever heard of it? But yeah, so in this clip that I came across this week, Penny, she's out there like actively pursuing acting. And so she finally gets like a small role in like a recurring show. And she thinks that like this, like finally after like 5 years of like waitressing and like thinking, like being in that same, I guess you would say, like belief that she's going to become a big time actress. So she gathers everybody in, like, this is my moment.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pull it up so we can watch it.
There's supposed to be a big scene with me and Mark Harmon, but it's gone.
Damn.
What happened?
They must have cut it.
Oh, Penny. I'm sorry.
This doesn't make any sense. I mean, I thought I did a really good job. Excuse me.
You still got the part. That's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, but this was supposed to be my break, okay? People were gonna see me in this show, and it was gonna lead to bigger things. More auditions, more parts. And none of that's gonna happen.
Honey, you only had like 3 lines. That wasn't gonna happen anyway.
Unbelievable.
Oh, come on. No, that's not what I meant.
Then what did you mean?
Words don't always have to mean things.
I think you meant that you don't believe in me.
No. I might not know what I meant, but I know that I didn't mean that. Not this guy. Oh, no way.
I want you right now to give me your 100% honest opinion. Do you think I have what it takes to really make it as an actress?
Yes.
So you think I'll be on TV and in movies and win awards?
Honestly?
Yes, honestly.
I don't.
Damn.
How could you say that?
I don't know. Yeah, I got all confused when you said honestly.
Oh.
Look, do I think that you are talented and that you're beautiful? Of course I do. But isn't Los Angeles full of actresses who are just as talented, just as beautiful? We'll come back to that.
No, please, don't stop. Go on. Tell me how I'm going to be a waitress for the rest of my life.
That is not what I said. Look, I think you're really good. I truly do. But this is an incredibly hard thing that you're shooting for. I mean, the odds of anyone becoming a successful actor, like 1,000,000 to 1.
1,000,000 to 1. So, yeah, I came across that episode this week. And so I was kind of reading the comments, but I kind of want to hear what you guys, if that kind of go back to the question. That's her boyfriend. Are there times where people have to keep it real with you?
In general, I want to say yes. In certain fields, like this acting thing, as tough as the industry is, bro, it do sometimes just be like right place at the right time.
It's more luck. It's like playing the lottery.
They could have put out the director's cut and somebody saw her scene and did put her in a movie. So when it's stuff like that, it's tough for me to be like you could tell somebody to be realistic, but like it's hard to be like, yo, this ain't gonna happen or this won't happen type thing. That's hard. Right. Now other things like you trying to get to the league, it's like it's so obvious that you wasn't going to.
But I mean, spoiler alert, like I think she dabbles in it a little bit more, but like this awakening or this wake up call finally allows her, or just like being surrounded with like, you know, like literal geniuses, she decides to like go back to school, and then through like knowing her friends, she gets into sales for a pharmaceutical company, and she starts making like more money than like all of them, and then she realizes that maybe it was all like trying to pursue or fulfill something that she thought she needed to fulfill, but she realized like other things in her life could, you know, fill that void, and like having getting married and having solid quality friendships and having a job and a career that you could pursue, like all that was just as fulfilling as becoming this, you know, big famous actress.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
I liken her situation to yours, where she was pursuing acting, but she was also a waitress.
Right.
You believed you was going to the league, so you weren't really applying yourself nowhere else. Does the situation become different if you're doing both? Like, what if she was doing the pharmaceutical stuff and chasing her acting career?
Right. And that's kind of what I'm doing now, because I told you guys, you know, we all did the film stuff. For me personally, just going through the experience of like, I went to film school because I was like, I want to learn how to make, I've always been curious. I've always been interested, but I'm going to learn how to make films. Boom. I learned how to do it. Started making, you know, short films, regardless of their quality or like looking back on them now, obviously like you're learning. But for me personally, I think they were like, you could go the festival route. Like it was like, get your films into festivals. Okay, well, we did that a couple times. Or I even went out to LA to like the big distributors festival. And then
the BDF?
Is that
the big distributors festival?
So for me personally, I was like, this is challenging. Of course, like your peers and like your friends are encouraging you and they're like, oh yeah, this is dope. This is a good film. But like once you start like talking to distributing companies who are like, you know, do I have anything here? For me, it kind of was like, this would be extremely challenging to break in this way.
Okay, yeah.
So then, like you, I was like, well, there's the internet, and a lot of people are just doing it themselves. And, you know, I kind of got interested in podcasting. Like I've had this interest for a while, and you know, once we were able to put this together and start putting it out and people being like, no, I think y'all got something, you know, I started to pour into it again. But I am still working and pouring like my resources into it. But, you know, I'm going to go until I get that wake up call. I don't know if that answers your question. You were like, is it okay to do both?
Is it a difference when you're doing both? Yeah. Because I see what you're saying. Because sometimes it could be like, if you completely like neglecting something else, it is kind of like
other areas.
But who cares if you neglect other things?
Well, if it's not working.
I'm just saying, like, I think you should put a certain level of neglect into things and sacrifice when you can. Like, I think if you're not supporting family, if you're not supporting certain things, like, why not take chances? And I do think there's a level of delusion that's necessary to do great things and break into things. And like, I do think you should be realistic and you should self-assess and you should, but I don't know. I think there's something in knowing what you're going after and doing the research and understanding it and studying it and then like approach, like going after it. And if we go back to your NBA or
my hoop dreams,
your hoop dreams, we can talk about how then, like you said, you guys couldn't see how it works the way we see it now. Like the way we can follow people and see everything they're doing and see where they go. Like you guys didn't have all that information at your fingertips. We were talking about just how readily information is available today. Today, we have so much information that I think you can really take in a lot of information and be very realistic and really plan and come up, like really say, this is the plans, the steps, and set goals for yourself, set levels, this is where I need to be, this is what I need to achieve, this is how I need to grow, and like push toward that stuff and be realistic about it. But I think you can take chances in that. And I think I don't know, I think delusion is needed. You always have to shoot bigger. You always have to shoot greater. I just think it's needed. I don't think anyone great in this life, at some point, they were delusional to everybody. So I don't care. I say be delusional. You'll get your wake up call eventually if it ain't you, but like, well, I don't believe in what ifs.
But I like what you're saying too, though. It's like, in your delusion, do you look back and take my example? Do I look back and say, well, I neglected all these other things, or I would have put more into, other interests. I kind of robbed myself looking back and pouring so much into this hoop dream. If somebody, if he had told me that in high school.
You didn't, though, because I believe every human being is going to live 70 lives. I just think, like, the world is not set up for how humans work. Like, you should not be doing one thing your entire life. I mean, unless you're doing open heart surgery or something like that. A lot of these jobs and things don't need you doing one thing for the rest of your life. You really don't need to be specialized like all these people think you need to be. You can change your direction at any point. You can restart. You can, the world isn't set up for us to do that, though.
A lot of Gen Zers are saying that, but I think being older, I think when you're younger, like you see the memes of people being like, I apologize to the 30-year-olds for calling you old when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
Like, you don't understand how fast life is happening. Like having siblings who are turning 40, or like when your parents start getting older, you think from 20 to 30, those are the longest years of your, you think you have all the time in the world. And then when time starts speeding up, then you start realizing oh, I can't just, BS my way through life or change careers you can. Yeah. Essentially you can. But I'm saying in your 20s, you think that, you have more of that flexibility.
Yep.
And like you said, life really isn't set up that way to allow you to do that, because you have responsibilities or bills or, your interests change, or you're like, well, do I want to have a family, or do I want to, experience some of these other things? So
your life will reflect your choices. And
very true.
To that point of kind of the putting your egg in one basket type of theory.
Right.
When I had that wake up call from the injury and I was going step by step, I was like, I just need to get in school and have my education paid for. So I got a scholarship. After that, even though I knew I was going to film school and I put most of my time into studying and my personal projects,
right,
I still was if basketball ended up showing itself in a way where I'm that could be the next step for me,
right,
I wasn't going to not do it just because I was like, I need to be more realistic about what I have going on. So
it was more so like shifting priorities.
It was like, I'm gonna make sure I'm doing this because I don't want basketball to be the thing I was hanging on, and then when it's over, I'm like, where am I?
Right.
But then I was like, let's say I did turn up and things started going my way, and I get more opportunities. I would have pursued that, but I was just making sure I did the other things too. So it's just more of a perspective of like, do you do the whole like 1,000%? Like, I'm only doing this. Do you give yourself like, maybe for a year I'm gonna quit, drop out, do this?
I agree with a little bit. I'm sorry, I'll let you follow up. But I was gonna say, I agree with a little bit of both perspectives because it's like you can't. I've seen people do it. I've seen people accomplish really tough, impossible things, but it's because they like made those sacrifices and they were just like, nothing is going to prevent me from becoming a partner or an attorney at this super high law firm. Like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what it's going to take. It's going to take me not having friends or having...
It's a price to pay, man.
Yeah, there's a price to pay. There's a sacrifice. But then at the same time, do they look back and regret, some of the other things that they sacrificed?
I think you just have to chase the things you enjoy in life. I don't know. I think our reasons for going after a lot of stuff are wrong. And I think that's the issue. I think when you actually pursue stuff out of, and that's not our fault because so much of our world is shrouded in, just being about money and being about different, really money. So it's just like, that's how we think. But I think when status, when you approach stuff out of a different mindset, I think success still comes out of it. Opportunities come out of it. And you never hit that point where there is regret or there is looking back and being like, oh, I wasted time. It's because it's like, why was I doing that?
If it's out of genuine like passion and love for what you're doing. And it's not like chasing something. Okay.
And I think that reflects in the type of work and product you put out as well, which also will put you in the places and level you up to be able to pursue bigger opportunities with it. And it's stuff like athletics is obviously like, I don't know, there's biology and all this other stuff put into it as well. And then you hit other stuff and it's like, the truth is somebody's never going to be good at this. But I've also met people, even if we talk about like the film acting stuff, whatever, I've met people who've gone into acting and they've completely were like garbage. And I was like, there's no way in hell you are going anywhere with this. And I'm looking at them 10 years later and they're incredible. And I'm just like, so I don't know. I think that's why I'm like, I think you just got to go for stuff. Like,
Please don't think you can go to the league now.
Some of that delusion is required, for
Delusion sold separately. Not included.
To be able to accomplish those things. But, also you change and like you do have to have a sense of reality and are you evaluating yourself properly up against what you're trying to achieve or your peers or others who have done it.
I think there's a space for everybody. I think you have to be clever and smart about how you pave out your space. But especially with the internet and all that stuff these days, you can make anything work. I mean, you can be an Ice JJ Fish, and if you know how to, he didn't intentionally try to market himself that way, but anyone can market their way in a manner or, present themselves in a manner that works to a certain crowd or audience. So
shout out JJ Fish too,
be delusional.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, like you said, your decisions reflect your
life reflects your choices.
Your life reflects your choices. So, would I be, working at T-Mobile because I pursued this? Not that there's anything wrong with working at T-Mobile. I'm just saying.
Absolutely good job.
It is a good job.
And then we appreciate y'all service. That was a double entendre. Yes. No, okay, never mind. It's over.
But I'm saying, now because I made that shift and I was able to focus on the academics.
Yeah.
And now I have a job where I'm,
not happy.
I'm happy when the paycheck comes, but I'm not happy necessarily in my job.
Your mentor's conversation with you led you to meet me and Guru. I would say it worked out.
I think it worked out as well. Like I said, I think if you were really in the position to
what an a-hole, you hear me?
Pursue that, you would have kept pursuing it.
I would have kept pursuing it, yeah. And I'm kind of at that crossroads now too, where I'm like, with this pod, this is dope, and the fact that it's like, a $4 billion industry. Is it going to keep moving in that direction, or like the opportunities for people that are prevalent? It's like, do I want to throw all my eggs in this basket? I might. I told you I'm going to New York. We released that episode.
That's right.
I think it just comes down to figuring out your purpose, and I think when we think of purpose, a lot of times we're like, oh, my purpose is to go play basketball or whatever. And it's like, I think our purpose boils down to, I don't know the word for it, but like something more
tangible,
not necessarily tangible, but
useful,
even deeper
productive?
Than tangible or whatever. Like, I think, like, for instance, maybe your purpose isn't to be a actor, but your purpose is to entertain. Like, I feel like a lot of times, like we lock onto something and our purpose is in, like, can be in there, but it's not that. It's like parts of that or pieces of that, and we don't ever break it down enough. We just fixate on one thing that we really want to do, and we don't ever truly discover our purpose. We make that thing our purpose. So I think once you start pursuing your purpose, everything you do, no matter what it is, your purpose shows up in it. So it's like, if my purpose is to communicate these messages to the world, then no matter what I touch, I can communicate that purpose through it. And then that's when your life and the things you do start becoming more fulfilling. And I think that leads you to bigger and greater things, because instead of pursuing one thing, you're pursuing a purpose, and everything falls under that umbrella. And then things start to look just a lot better. And I think that improves the quality of the big things you're pursuing too, or those bigger picture things, which is why I feel kind of very delusional on everything I touch, but it's more so because everything I touch, I'm touching with a sense of purpose instead of a sense of this needs to be successful or this needs to be this or that. And since I know that's my purpose and what I was put here for, I have no doubt that it's going to do what it's going to do. So my delusion isn't necessarily like, this is about to make me rich and famous, but I know it's changing the world in the manner I was meant to change the world.
I get what you're saying.
Do you have any practical, because I feel like sometimes we give, like, it sounds nice in theory, like we give theoreticals, but do you feel comfortable sharing like your do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it sounds good in theory. Like, I was moved. Why are you laughing?
I'm not. Why you laugh?
I didn't laugh. I said I was moved.
You smiling, you laughing right now.
Huh? And that's the shape of that's the outline of my lip. I got bit by a bumblebee. I assume you're talking like not just in like career, in a sense of career, or were you talking about like career?
More like life.
Life, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, whatever you feel comfortable sharing. I just don't want it to seem like philosophical. Like, yeah, that sounds good. Pursue a purpose, and everything else will kind of fall into place. Like, how have you seen that kind of? Because I've done the opposite. I've been living without a purpose, and I feel like my life has gone pretty good so far. I'm just kidding. I'm sitting here with you.
I'm gonna say, what's good? But are you feeling fulfilled?
I was trying to make a joke, but go ahead. I've lived a very good life.
That's good.
I was thinking about that
visually,
the other day.
Man. It visually looked like it was rough.
Visually? What do you mean? I've done everything.
I'm saying you
I played college basketball.
You ain't got no haircut, so you look a little worn right now.
Oh yeah, I look rough. Right
but
now.
How did you feel in those moments? Like, you look back on it and you think that
life?
Yeah. But in those moments, what were you thinking?
I feel like I've kind of said this to you guys before, where I felt like life was always moving faster than I could catch up to it.
Yeah.
So I was like pursuing basketball. I pursued aviation. I don't know if I told you guys that. I thought I wanted to be a pilot.
Okay.
And so I was actually like flying like small Cessna airplanes.
Yeah.
I pursued
Into the incident.
relationships.
You crashed?
No.
Oh.
I pursued like relationships and like went after like living in different cities. I've done so many things that I can't even, and had like so many experiences.
I would agree.
Like every 2 years, I found myself in a totally different situation that I never saw coming for my life. You know, to me, all that still seems like, I still feel like, I told you this, I feel like I want to squeeze everything out of.
Woo! Took me for a run, buddy.
I want to squeeze everything out of life. And I'm going to do, I guess that's what I was trying to say earlier, is like, don't be surprised if it's just like, I went for it again, because that's what I've always done. So I want to understand like that purpose, like what.
I think I have a lot of different purposes, but I think just helping people. I think I've always been someone who has been in positions and places in my life where I was supposed to stand out. I was supposed to be an example. I was supposed to, I was always supposed to push needles. I was always supposed to set a certain example. I was always supposed to like keep the room a certain way, or push the room to be a certain way, or this, that, and the other. And I think in a lot of the things I kind of pursue or touch in life, it's like I'm always carrying that with me, that I am this example, that I am this light, that I am this just energy that is supposed to come in and just give myself to certain situations and environments in a certain manner. And that's just how I try to show up in them.
The disruptor?
Yeah.
Table shaker?
And I'll say sometimes, a lot of the times, when I get too caught up on the bigger thing I'm chasing, it prevents me from doing that.
Okay.
And I realized that I didn't show up in the manner I needed to because I was too busy chasing something. So that even goes back to am I being too delusional? It's like, I don't think you're being too delusional, but I do think you can focus so much on something that you're missing the moments and places you've been in, because I think all our lives look like that, where we're always touching things we never saw or in places we never saw. And I think we need to be able to be present and in those moments and giving all of us to those moments. But sometimes we get so caught up in things that we're not able.
Once again, I'm moved.
Purpose and delusion, I think it's a handshake. Because if you believe you have a great purpose, it is going to look away to maybe your peers and stuff like that. It may be something that only you can see because you know your abilities, or somebody just don't know how something goes. They just see you chasing something and just can think you running at a wall.
Right.
But you don't see it because the wall is not there. It's just there for them, because maybe they wouldn't take a chance, or they don't believe in themselves. So they like, you shouldn't do that, because they wouldn't take the chance.
Right.
They got another outlook on life. So I just think that I think it's a healthy balance.
Right.
So
delusion is beautiful. I think delusional people move the world forward. So be delusional. That's all I think.
Be delusional. Just don't be a maniac. That's when it go over.
Be delusional, but care about other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, continue to
like and subscribe.
Yeah. Like and subscribe.
We offer you something. Please.
Be delusional and subscribe.
Yeah. Send the episode to somebody. Even if you think it's dumb, just send it. Just say, hey, look how dumb this is.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
We'll enjoy the analytics.
Yeah. Say, look at the 3 dumbest people on the internet.
Ever.
I've found them.
Just look at it.
And send it to them.
Find someone in your life that you think is delusional and send them this podcast.
Ooh, I like that.
And say, this is what I think of your
These idiots are like you. Yeah. Send this to somebody who's delusional.
And they're going to watch it, and I promise you they're going to say, damn, maybe I should rethink this. So do someone a favor in your life.
Yes.
And put them on the right road.
Yeah, if you think somebody off track, send them this.
Like, look at these delusional fools. And
so do that for us and come back next time.
Please.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Maybe.
Jay with the jokes, funny guy. Drew with the blah blah, telling crazy stories for a lifetime. Kemp got the wisdom for him, like nothing's ever that serious. And if you don't listen, then you're delirious.
Bro, you can't say that. Why not?
Because we're live. I just said nothing's ever that serious.